And we are live. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sarah Williams. I am the CEO and founder of Hemp for Healthcare in Alaska, and welcome to Explaining Hemp. Today we have Susan Barnhardt with Shemp Yarn Company. I'm very excited. John Porterfield should be coming on here shortly, so we're going to pray that he'll be with us very shortly here. And so, good morning, Susan. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm very excited to have you. Let me get my script up here. I got sidetracked. So good morning. Come on in, everyone. I'll give you just a couple minutes. Good morning, Sherry from Canada. Yay. I'm so excited to see you. Come on in. Canada has a great hemp industry. You guys have really experienced that's pretty much most of the world that's civilized outside of America. We've seen kind of hemp already get started in that space. So come on in. Let me see here. Hold on. Okay, hold on, guys. We have a bit of a technical difficulty. John needs me to text him something here on my on my phone. That's something that I'm used to doing here on the copy and paste. So give me just one moment here, guys. Hold tight with me, and then we'll get our other guest in here, and then we'll pray this darn thing in and get things moving. Okay, so and we have two. Okay, I think that's it. That should be it. Okay, so hopefully he'll be right in. Okay. All right. Yeah, like this whole journey is something where you just learn to adapt and overcome. You know, when you're trying to rebuild an economy with hemp and you're trying to get people educated, you just, come and do things. So, okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead and pray this thing in, and then John hopefully will be here very shortly, and we'll get things. If you're new to the broadcast, welcome. Please put where you're from in the comments so I can welcome you, and we can, welcome you. We're broadcasting on 3 YouTube channels. I'm sorry, three Facebook channels, 1 Twitter channel, and 1 YouTube channel. So we are off to about a audience of about 25,000 cumulative. So welcome. John's coming on. He's still getting his screen working. So, but he's here. Yay! Welcome, John. I'm so excited to see you. Can we hear you?
I was going to have to ad lib the whole time.
Susan's like, man, what are we gonna do? But we're good. We can balance it out.
Yes, I'm just gonna act lib for a long time.
That's so good. We got this. All right. Well, then let's go ahead and pray this thing in and get started. So, Lord God, I thank you so much for this day. I thank you for the way that you've taught me to overcome challenges. Father God, I thank you for bringing Susan and John today into my life and into the lives of my viewers. Father God, pour out your spirit, anoint our lips, give us great words to be able to educate the people and help them truly understand hemp as textiles and how we're going to be able to just revolutionize the economy of America and Alaska with hemp. So in Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen. All right. There you are, John. I see your picture now. Good. Okay.
Sorry, my internet connection is not what it used to be. Our AT&T is having problems.
Well, we pray for AT&T.
Hi, Susan.
Well, good. Well, I'm glad that you're here. That's okay. Car video time. That's good. That's good.
Yeah,
so,
gotta do it. It's an important day around here. And hello, Susan, and both and Sarah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to mention Benjamin Childs. Benjamin, where are you from? I don't remember. He's commented on the post here. He says he's a starving farmer that sucks at selling his harvest, and that's I understand that. But maybe we can make some connections and try to make that happen for you. So let's go ahead and get started. I do want to welcome John Porterfield with Woolen Hemp out of Malta, Montana. and Susan Barnhardt with Shemp Yarn Company. Let's be very clear, it is Shemp Yarn Company. Okay, it's not just Shemp. We learned that the other day, that there's something not righteous and holy about just using the word Shemp. So we need Shemp Yarn Company. Be very clear about that when you go searching that on Google.
And a real interesting revelation.
That's right. That's right. We want to protect you from defilement of your eyes. So go ahead and search Shemp Yarn Company. And so, Susan, you're in Florida, right? What part of Florida?
I live on Amelia Island. It's the very top of Florida on the East Coast. It's at the Florida-Georgia line.
Okay. And we were just
where the nuclear sub base is.
Oh, okay, great. And we were just discussing that that Alaska is 5 degrees this morning. It's cold. And Florida, you know, it's maybe in the 40s or 50s. You know, we don't know.
65 in the windows.
What's your temperature in Montana, John? Oh, say that one more time. Oh, yeah, we got internet issues. John, we got internet issues. Darn it. Okay, maybe they'll catch up here in just a moment. Okay, well, let's go ahead and jump in to today's broadcast. We start the broadcast with some hemp news. Typically, Miss Mandy will come in but she's got some other things going on. So we're going to go ahead and just move on to some hemp news. I'm going to share my screen here real quick while John gets all those things going for himself. And we're going to start with Hemp Industry Daily. We've got some really interesting things. Can you guys all see that? The Hemp Industry Daily. There we go. Perfect. So there's that. Okay. So there we have the first thing, stopping right off of the top, is hot hemp, right? What is the definition of hot hemp? That is hemp that is over the 0.03% THC, which is that delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol, and this is that psychoactive chemical compound that is found in hemp. And so we have these new USDA new rules for disposing of hot hemp. I'm just not a fan of requiring farmers to just burn crops that end up with a little bit too much THC. I think that's a total waste of time, especially when you can remediate there's the word, into something like biofuel or plastics or really anything non-consumable or fibers, right? Like, but I do know something I've learned recently is that the higher the THC quantity, the softer the fiber, right? So that's something going on in the world. It does say that, what else do we have? CBD experts detail top trends to stay ahead of. CBD, you know, it's a great way. It's how we kind of got introduced to industrial hemp, but the absolute truth of the matter is fiber is how industrial hemp is going to truly rebuild America's economy and how it's going to save our planet. So fiber is really awesome. Looks like they've got some economic impact chart, 16 billion by 2025. That's not something to wink at, you know, like that's a pretty intense thing. And I've been saying for a long time that hemp is going to rebuild our economy if we just let it, you know, if we just let it happen. So we've got CBD energy drinks out there, and Bretex creates CBD regulatory mess. Now that's not surprising at all. Especially when you're talking about global standards for how you can manage this. Let me do a quick shout out for the Global Hemp Association because they're trying to create global standards that everyone can abide by. And then we talked about this last week about American Indian tribes with new economic opportunities regarding hemp. And with that, here Alaska Native tribes as well will have huge opportunities with hemp to create a pride of product again. And that's something that I am very passionate about, is building hemp infrastructure within our Native Alaskan villages so that they can have a lot of that just self-sustainability and economic independence again. So let's go ahead and move on to hemp today. Let me get back here, see if there's anything else in Hemp Today news that we need to look at here. Let me grab this one real quick. There we go. And Susan, you were on Hemp Today recently. Is that right?
Well, they wrote an article that was an interview.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
That's great.
It was a good interview. You know, they asked me some good questions. We talked about many things, especially on the fact that I think that there's going to have to be regional processing centers for industrial hemp, and going to have a reasonably priced decortication systems. I mean, you know, the average farmer can't afford to put a $25 million processing center on his farm.
Right.
But it'd be good if they work cooperatively, the farmers, you know, I think. And I think it's if they can do this, it's a good way for them to monetize their crop, because I think that's an extremely important thing. You know, they talk a lot about like subsidizing farmers and giving them money. I read an article I read, nobody talks about how they monetize this crop. You know, they don't talk about who are they going to sell this to. You know, and I think that's a really important part of it, because if you don't sell anything, you don't make any revenue, and you might as well just go home.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Now I'm having technical difficulties on my side, guys, and I don't know where we're broadcasting at this point or what's going on. I'm having praise God for technical difficulties. Because all of a sudden my Chrome is now frozen. So I can hear you, and I assume we're still broadcasting, but things are frozen. So I'm not sure what's going on right now. See if I can try to change things out just a little bit here and get things back. Oh, all right. Let's see here. Let's try to close out. See if I can do this without if I have to close this down, let's just all jump right back in and start it again. Okay. Yeah, it looks like I might have to close the entirety of Google Chrome to make it work. I don't want to do that. It's definitely not what I'm trying to do here, but it looks like it's frozen and I can't do anything until that. So unfortunately, my friends, that's what we're going to have to do. So let me close this out and just come right back in, and we'll go ahead and restart the broadcast. Okay. Okay, I'm back, and it. All right. Okay. It looks like we're still broadcasting according to this. So let's do this. All right, John, you there? Susan, you there?
Yep.
Okay. I'm
Perfect.
here.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
All right.
Yeah.
I can hear you fine. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Are we still live? We'll put that comment in there. Yeah, we definitely have a challenge though, John, on your oh yeah, good. That's still live. Okay. All right. So we're still live. Praise God. Yeah, John, we've got a big challenge on hearing your it's the internet problem for you, I think, because it's hard to hear you and kind of stream solid. So well, okay, let's just get into this here. So where are we at? I do want to thank this month's sponsor for Cannabis 15. You'll see in the scrolling bar at the bottom of our scene. Cannabis 15 has sponsored this training for this month. So thank you so much. We can stream to 5 different platforms. If you're looking for software solutions, strategic business development solutions, they're amazing with their IT solutions. So check out c15solutions.com. And we're talking about today one of the most incredible is for hemp. Now I know I say that like every time, and I know that's like, oh my gosh, hemp is so amazing with everything. Well, that's because it is. But hemp fiber and hemp textiles is going to be next to hemp biofuel. Oh my gosh, we got serious Wi-Fi issues. Okay, here we go. Next to biofuel, which we'll be talking about next week, and hemp is energy. Textiles are an extreme polluter of the planet, just an extreme polluter. So let's talk about this. Here's some statistics that I've got today. So the global apparel market is valued at $3 trillion. It accounts for 2% of the world's gross domestic product. About almost 75% of the world's fashion market is concentrated in Europe, USA, China, and Japan. We're not really talking about fashion today, but the fashion industry employs over 75 million people worldwide. I didn't get specific details on housewares and bedding and things of that nature, but that's a huge number too when you add that to it. Second to oil, the clothing and textile industry is the larger polluter in the world. Textile dyeing is the world's second largest polluter of water, since the water left over from the dyeing process is often dumped into ditches, rivers, or other things. Okay, I'm gonna mute one of you because there's a background sound here that's coming through. Okay, next. I spent a lot of time on like specifics for fashion industry statistics, and I know that John and both Susan are dealing with different kinds of products, but I just wanted to give these statistics as ways that are just showing that the textile industry is a huge polluter, just a huge polluter. So the U.S. is the largest importer of garments and bedding and all of that in the world. We import it. We don't make anything in our own backyard. And that's a problem when the whole world shuts down. Thank you, COVID-19, right? How are we going to take care of our people? We don't make anything, okay? Let's see here. When consumers throw away bedding, clothing, all textiles just in the garbage, as it decomposes, it releases poisonous chemicals into our environment. Okay? Not to mention, cotton uses pesticides, and cotton can only be grown in 7 states across the entire, country for America. So hemp has the potential to be grown in every single state, when grown properly. So it's pretty awesome. And let's see here. One more statistic about the fashion industry specifically. In 2018, the fashion industry produced 2.1 billion tons of CO2. This represents 4% of global carbon emissions. Well, guess what? Hemp absorbs carbon emissions where you plant it, right? So it's a great opportunity for us to plant the plant, absorb carbon emissions, but then use it in a way that's a lot more environmentally sustainable. And I know Susan and John both have great input as to what that can include. So why is hemp a better choice for our people? Hemp fabrics are stronger, they're more durable, they're more absorbent, and they're better at insulating than cotton is. They don't stretch out of shape like cotton does. While cotton is more softer and soft against the skin, it has a lot of other downsides, and we'll get to that in a moment. But it also takes a lot of water to produce cotton, and it takes much less water to produce hemp textiles as well. So let's get right to the superheroes on the scene. again, everybody who is in the hemp industry is my, like I look up to you and I admire to you, because you're the superheroes on the scene. You're the ones that are out there innovating, creating new products, creating new things. And so I'm very, very thankful for your presence on the broadcast today. So again, John Porterfield, Woolen Hemp, right down here. And then we have Susan Barnhardt with Shemp Yarn Company, right? So John, let's go ahead and start with you. Let me go ahead and unmute you. Let me get you. There you go. I think you're unmuted. Wait, I think you have to unmute yourself because I can't seem to unmute you. There you go. Perfect. Okay. So share with me about yourself, your journey, and how Woolen Hemp is kind of working to combat some of these earth-shattering statistics.
Yeah, I mean, those are interesting statistics. Thanks so much, Sarah, for having me. It's interesting to see how the industry is changing. That's the neat part of this whole thing. It's also makes it very challenging, and it makes it hard to back it in a way that's consistent that banks want to be participating in. But it's overall, it's really encouraging. You're right. We're going to be able to save a lot of the planet. I think the bees are the other part of the story. The bees really like being in hemp fields, and so that's an important part. I like the organic trend, the trend of organic fiber, the trend of organic. Every aspect of this plant is trying to grow it organically. It seems to be the best thing to do. Otherwise, it's something the farmers just have to be able to win on. We have to just find a good way that they can build in a plan to rotate it in and just move it through their field.
Oh, no.
Looking at its ability to block out weeds and using this as weed control. That is that's important, I believe. That conventional farms and I think everybody that's growing it needs to, but a tall crop, it's got to be tall, above 9 feet at a dense planting rate to really block out weeds, and use that as a tool instead of spraying herbicides and putting Roundup out. You know, you've got to get away from using those chemicals to just knock out your whole field when hemp can do that. So building in a rotation to do that, I'd like to see it. I think it would build nutrient density in the field, even if you just use it as a plow down green manure crop. But there's going to be a lot of ways. We should see hemp go beyond what we have for our wheat. I would imagine we grow about 5.5 million acres of wheat in Montana. I can see someday that we're going to get hemp beyond those levels. And the farmer has to get paid at least better than alfalfa is basically the rule. They'll have to try to make around, you know, $900 per acre is a reasonable amount. I'd like as a part of that process, basically everybody gets paid as they pay at the time they receive the seeds, they put it in the ground properly.
John, I think we're going to have to do a special broadcast, just you and me, when your internet comes back on, because
we do soil tests to see if we have to amend the soil at all. We move on to harvest.
Yeah. And then we lost him. Okay. Well, darn it. That's okay. I think it's going to be just vitally important to have a great conversation. You know, when John's internet gets back up, we'll do a separate broadcast because he does have a great lot of information. But as you've noticed, for whatever reason, internet, just one of those days. So, well, let's go on and move on to Susan for right now. And Susan, I am super excited about hearing about Shemp Yarn Company and what you're doing in Florida there. And let's go ahead and move on to you.
Well, I'm Susan Barnhardt, and I'm the founder of the Shemp Yarn Company. And there's kind of a story behind this, and I think it's really important to tell a story. The story behind the development of the Shemp Yarn Company really began as a group of sheep ranchers had got together at their annual convention. And they spoke about that there's an abundance of wool in the United States, and how could they, continue to monetize their wool. Okay, people had perceptions, they wanted to do other things. And when the Farm Bill was created, and in 2018, they initiated a discussion of like, what should they do? And one of the gentlemen suggested, well, why don't we do something with hemp? So they decided that combining hemp with wool would be a natural choice, and it would help to create a new industry for wool, but also help to with the emerging industry of hemp. One of the guys that was there was a guy named Mitch Driggers, and he is actually the liaison for the Wool Council, American Wool Council, to the military. So he's a textile expert, and he said he thought it was a great idea. He explained, the validation that wool carries hemp really well in the spinning process, and as long as we could access long enough hemp fiber that had been begummed, that we could then spin that on a worsted system. Or we could, if that didn't happen, we could actually just work on a short staple, which is which would not produce the fine quality of of the worsted count, but it would produce a yarn. So I was brought in at a very early stage to do this, and we did bring the idea to fruition, but in 2018, there weren't a lot of processors who were decorticating hemp. But we did find someone, and with the supply and unlimited supply, we did forge ahead. And with the collaboration of many people, including a hemp processor, hemp farmer, we ended up and Chargers Wool, that's in South Carolina. They're probably one of the largest wool suppliers in the world. And two colleges, Gaston Technology, NC State, and National Spinning, we ended up that we created something that we could look at, okay? Which is really important when you're doing a prototype. You have to be able to look at it and determine, how is it going to go? Is there potential in this? And we did find out through this rudimentary prototype that it would ensure softness, which is surprising. A lot of people think wool is scratchy. Well, it's really not. And hemp is, but the thing is that when they're spun together, they become very soft and silky and create a very wonderful yarn. So we decided that we would do that. And they determined they didn't want to move forward, the sheep ranchers. They have other things that they're working on. And I thought the idea was extremely intriguing. And so with that in mind, I was doodling one day and came up with the name Shemp, S-H-E-M-P, which is sort of a melding of the two, which I'm melding them anyway. And so where's Shemp now? Well, I want to tell you, Shemp had a good night's sleep under John's woolen hemp duvet and his head resting on John's woolen hemp pillows. He was very happy. He woke up this morning and he said to himself, okay, we're going to move forward with the development of these yarns, which we really are. We're already working on it. We've accessed great textile grade fiber that's about 2.5 inches long. And now we're accessing it that's 3.5 to 4 inches long. So that'll allow us to create 2 different yarns if we would like to. And it's just really important to understand that this Shemp products, we subscribe to this promise that we will only source all our raw materials and produce it and manufacture it in the United States, because I really believe that we have to create our economy. We and people in the United States, Americans in general, need to start to remember If you want to buy something cheap and buy from China, you're definitely not supporting anyone in the United States. And we need to keep our economy going and grow our jobs. And that's just the way life is. You know, if you don't support each other, then what is there? So a couple that, and so I think that part of my company's promise is that we have an obligation to provide a better way for everyone to live on this earth. I truly believe that in today's world, people are thinking about that. And I think in the end, we really need a good campaign to keep talking about it. Sort of like Smokey the Bear, you know, he prevents forest fires. Well, what does hemp do? Well, it helps sustain the planet. We considered Shemp yarn for diapers. It's kind of an interesting idea in that these would be washable diapers for continuous use. And if they were woolen hemp, they would wash beautifully as long as the wool was superwashed. Otherwise, we'd end up with diapers about this big that would probably fit on a troll doll. But, and there's a lot of benefits to that because they'd be moisture wicking, they would be cooling. People don't really understand that. You know, they think all these other things, but they're antibacterial. I mean, if you think about disposable diapers, all right, I raised a lot of children, and I did use regular diapers only because the cost, then my boys are in their 40s, was prohibitive. And when you have 3 kids under the age of 3, that's a lot of disposable diapers. But I think about if we could use hemp to create these diapers, both the regular kind that we use, you know, that you wash and you put in the washer. But if we also went to disposable diapers that were made of hemp, we would be able to create a truly biodegradable diaper. I mean, and if we have, this is an interesting fact. If we have, most babies use between each baby 2,500 to 3,000 disposable diapers per year of their lives. Can you imagine that? Think about that. And if you think about that, that costs anywhere about $2,000 for one baby on the average, all right? And they account for 2% of our landfill. But it takes forever for them to disintegrate. I mean, think about it. When you go to the beach or the mountains, anywhere, you see all these diapers, you know, and they're in trash cans. And they, not only that, but they stink. So you're sort of like, oh my God, right? And I just feel like today's modern parents would be really receptive to the fact that we could create a biodegradable diaper, and the top sheet could be made of a plant-based PLA made of hemp biocomposites, and we could have an absorbent core of the non-woven hemp fiber. And what a great thing that would be. I mean, there are companies out there like the Honest Company that Jessica Alba owns. This would be an idea that would really appeal to her. Yeah. I mean, if we could get Procter & Gamble to say, oh, yeah, I love that idea, or Kimberly Clark, you know, Georgia Pacific, if you think about it, they're, you know, they were part of that Kraylar thing, and now they're really partnering with other companies. Why don't they think about it? So it's really, I think that there's a lot that can be done, and we really need to like start at the beginning. And I don't know, but that's just always been my thing. The diaper thing was like, oh my God, if we could just fix this.
Yes. You know? Yeah. And you know, as a mom to a 7-year-old, I have to repent a little bit to the planet and say, you know, I was one of those, the disposable was where it was at for me. And that was, you know, and yeah, we created a ton of waste. And to this day, still create, you know, waste with that. 'Cause my son still, you know, sometimes wears pull-ups. So it's really like that alone. And I'm always a big fan of saying, how can we create products that keep all the convenience, but remove the planet destroying guilt? You know, like I know this product is bad, but I also really love it in my life. Can we do that in a way such as make a biodegradable diaper that, you know, can keep that convenience, but not make me feel so bad about, you know, what I'm doing?
Or even odor resistant. How much better would it be taking an odor resistant diaper?
Yes, right? What? That's an idea. That's an idea for sure. I love it. I love it. So, John, are you back? Did you find a place with some better Wi-Fi, maybe?
I don't understand. I've got a blizzard that's coming right at me here, and I think the blizzard's causing some issues. I've got full, 4 bars. Hopefully, it'll sound better. But
So
no, I agree. I've had 2 children. I think we figured it was about 7,000 diapers per child, and we tried. We really did try for a little while with the cloth diaper thing, but it was just too much. And so, yeah, just the convenience, especially if you're traveling. Gosh sakes, I know. So there's a convenience factor in the world. Everything's wrapped in plastic too. The packaging alone. I mean, the huge story about just the packaging. So, and why we need so much packaging, and why, in some cases it helps us and protects us. So I want to see a lot of these things. We've got polymers now that are getting created from the hemp plant. Those will be a lot better, I think. I've heard some ideas about.
Go ahead. Last week's episode was on
have one handy, but
hemp is plastic. So we had Kurt McGee and Heather Roselli, and we did hemp is plastic last week. And so, yes, super important, and we can do that. Like, we don't need to do this anymore. And this is difficult for me to stand and live in a state whose entire economy is based on petroleum, and say to you, okay, look, I'm sorry, but we're going to create something way different and way better for the environment. And so oil is not the future any longer. And it's not because I hate oil companies or anything of that nature or whatever. Well, okay, sometimes, I'm going to be honest, maybe. But more so, it's about we've got to do what's right for our planet, because if we don't, the future generations, our children, won't have any place worthy of living. Just won't be worth it. Won't be worth it. So we've got to make some changes for that. So John, tell me about woolen hemp. How did woolen hemp come to be? Try that.
It was a kind of serendipity. It brought together a number of things that basically made sense, that the old machinery from wool processing that had the similar qualities to be able to wash and cart and prepare hemp fiber too. And so I also am a part of a fertilizer business in Montana, and so we'd seen some examples of big mats that were made, erosion control blankets and tubes and socks and things made out of natural materials. I was really intrigued with that. I was trying to get my fertilizer used in these things to help reestablish vegetation. And so one thing led to another. It's like we have to get to the point where we have a lot of hemp fiber that's available that's going to be spinnable, that's of a certain quality. And then of all these different qualities, there's different uses. You can see all the way down the chain, but kind of up here on the upper end of it is where I've tried to focus so that we could actually use the wool. There's a lot of wool around Montana, and blending it, like Susan's saying, is a wonderful idea. And it just, so using the old technology that we have, some of the machineries from back in 1863, and there's a mix of newer machinery too, but I think it's a great lesson that way back in those days, that a lot of wool and a lot of hemp and a lot of flax fiber was used and brought into textiles. And it was done on a local level. We had a military base in Chinook, Montana. They used that, and through some of the local machinery and stuff, they knew how to decord that and prepare it to be spun so that they could use it in clothing. And of course, we had big cordage companies that prepared ropes and things for our ships, and made sails, and just all the different products that have come from that. But it all kind of got back to me is that we really had to be able to blend it and be able to prepare it. And so this is the first stage processing. Once it's grown, it's got to be decorticated and softened and prepared to be spun. And that seemed to be the very big first step to take. And then I think from there, actually bring spinning to Montana. There's a lot of great spinners in Montana. We'd love to see more expansion, I think, for each state. I think it would behoove all the states that do well and grow well to diversify and even go out into weaving, dyeing, cut and sew. We can make it all here. I know. I think it will happen in time, but initially we can grow it. We've proven that we can grow it. Everybody's proven it can grow in every state, but it hasn't had contracts behind it. So the contracts for the farms is critical to pay them better than what they make from alfalfa. That's kind of the start. And then if they can do better than that, then that's going to maybe be a specialty crop. But at least for us, this is about making sure that the farmer can win And the farmer, if the farmer wins, then you'll see more adoption and more adoption and more adoption. Otherwise, we've seen a waning of interest because so many farms and so much acreage has been burned. And, you know, we were talking about waste earlier. You brought that up as one of the subjects. Crops that went hot. You know, terrible to have them just go off and be burnt, you know, and add more cost to the farm when the farm is just trying to do things and barely survive.
I don't care.
So
I don't care how much THC is in the shirt I wear or the bedding that I put on my bed, or I don't care about that. Like, why? Nobody's going to be chewing on their sheets, you know? Like, come on. It makes no sense to me to do that. Seems like a very archaic response. Go ahead.
Well, like Susan was saying, the fibers blend together beautifully, so that's an important part of why wool and hemp works together well. And there's the wool growers have an excess of wool. There's most of the pools around us are full. There's a lot of the wool, the coarser wools, they don't even take. You know, the pools won't even take them in. So it's a loss. So we find that there's a lot of good value in bringing some of these together. Insulation, another perfect use for hemp and wool. And so we'll see a lot more of things getting adopted, ways of reapplying things. We can do non-woven, you know, and with a lot of the hemp fibers, non-woven is beautiful, along with the wool. So I think that there'll be some great new products that the companies will be in a great position to launch. And it's important that we have a facility like this to be able to clean and prepare it, right?
And that really brings it down to, you know, you have a great blog, John, on your site about why American-made hemp is so important. And we've done this thing because profits were more important than people. We've created this reality where we live in a place of, oh, well, if it's cheap, then I'm going to buy it because we have this wealth disparity in America where we have very poor and then we have very wealthy and we have kind of a middle space. And we've got this problem where because of the Chinese influx of products into our society, we've been like, oh, well, I'm going to buy it cheap and it's going to be cheap and that's okay. And they don't care. They don't care where their products are coming from. They've kind of disconnected from this concept that, well, if I buy from China, it doesn't matter what I'm doing with my dollars, but yet you're not creating jobs in your own state, in your own backyard, in your own home. You're not creating any self-sustainability. So when a pandemic comes, or scamdemic, or whatever people want to call it, when it comes, it shuts down the world and you've got nothing to take care of yourself. You know, now I'm not calling this scam. I know it's a real disease. I know it's killed people, but the shutting down of the entire economy, I'm not quite sure I 100% agree with. That being said, what it's been great is it's exposed our weaknesses as American people that we can't take care of ourselves. We have said, oh, Daddy, China, will you take care of us? And they've done it. And we can't do that anymore. We've got to build solid green infrastructure in our own backyards in each of our states and take care of our people. Because when we do that, and then we can build a stronger, more prosperous economy for future generations. Otherwise, we get controlled by the governments that we owe money to and that we depend on making our products, and then they control our society. So if America truly wants to take back her freedom, she needs to start investing in infrastructure, green infrastructure in the hemp industry, and just grow hemp. You know, there was a point in time in our history where hemp for victory, right? We're still there. Hemp for victory is what the reality is. And the textile industry with everything from rope and bedding and canvases and clothing and, you know, I have my dream of hemp for the homeless, where we have hemp carpets and hemp mattresses with wool and hemp duvet covers and hemp pillows and you know, everything is just so everything hemp. I mean, you can make an entire house with hemp paint on the wall, you know. And so the potential is there, but we've got to build that infrastructure. We got to grab the idea. John, you mentioned this thing about farmers have to get paid. But the truth is if you, as my viewers, and the American people don't buy hemp, nobody's getting paid. Okay? If you have to make a conscious decision to say, we want to build the hemp industry, we want to change the world. So with my dollars, I'm going to go buy a hemp product instead of buying something else. And that's just the truth, is that you have to make the decision to buy into this vision that hemp can rebuild America, but your dollars are what make the final decision. You have to buy hemp. So that being said, I want to really give a shout out to Woolen Hemp, their pillows and their duvet covers. I just put them up on hempforhealthcare.com. Hopefully it'll be up there by this afternoon. But great products, super luxurious, very quality products. And yes, you may spend a little more dollars up front, but you're going to have a longer lasting and more quality products. So I definitely a big shout out for that. So, okay,
Thanks.
let's, we got just 15 minutes left. Susan, I want to jump back to you. It doesn't really matter if we, as a society, just go ahead and change over to hemp, and we still are just wasteful in everything we do. What are some suggestions you have for maybe decreasing our textile waste, and kind of just being better stewards of our planet?
I personally shop at a place called I go to Barnabas at least once every 2 weeks. Barnabas here is it's a reuse and recycle store. And I go there and I look at their clothing. I mean, you can get some fantastic buys. Everything is donated. So that's one of the things that I do when I clean out my closet twice a year. And everything I clean out, I send over to Barnabas so they can recycle it, donate it. People need things. But I think that one of the things that the pandemic has actually taught us is that less is more. I mean, we have learned that less is more. That is a difficult thing. I mean, I have to honestly say it's probably more difficult for women than it is for men. I mean, let's face it, we all love shoes. And there is nothing like going shopping. Nothing like spending an entire day wander around and look at all the beautiful clothes, right? And then Nordstrom Rack calls you and says, oh, we have 70% off. So, do you really need that? But but we have to keep remembering, do we really need this? How do we work with less is more? And I just think that you can research brands that practice sustainability. Like there are companies like, I think Zara, they have this whole thing where you can take your clothes back and put it in their recycle bins. I think that's really important to begin to understand that and work with companies that believe in sustainability. A lot of the clothing manufacturers are now reducing their lines, so they're not putting out so much clothing. They're doing just in time, which was the Toyota lesson with just in time production. So I think that we just have to accept that we just can't have instant gratification. We have to look at where things are coming from. We have to agree that we are going to look and purchase things that are made in the United States of America.
Yep.
And if we can't figure that out after all this, after we've all gotten a virus, that maybe we should start to buy clothes from other places, then I really question our mentality. I am not, I don't buy anything that comes, I don't buy anything that comes from China. I mean, I don't even think people realize there's a thing called the Reshoring Act, where, you get incentives if, you bring your production back to the United States. These are all things that I don't think Americans even know about. We're so embroiled in other things.
Right. Right.
Yep. We just really need to talk about, this. And I actually think, I have to say, I'm a baby boomer. So, we kind of were, we're a different group of people. But, a lot of our kids became very entitled. They really did. I mean, I have 5 of them, so I can honestly tell you that. And, But I'm watching this younger generation, like even my sons and my granddaughters. They're thinking more about like, oh, should I buy this? Do I need this? They talk about the planet. You know, they recognize that there's climate change, and I think that's good. So I think that as this generation grows and you take the time to talk to them and understand them, even though sometimes us baby boomers cannot understand them, I think that, you know, things will change. They have to change.
Yep.
You know, if
And
not,
I wholeheartedly believe in that. You know, here in Alaska, we're dependent on oil, right? Petroleum is our lifestyle. And so yet I'm out there going, okay, guys, things have to change. I know you don't like it. I know it's a change from your status quo, from your comfort level. You expect everything to stay the same, but it doesn't. It never does. And so seasonally, we walk through these times where, okay, we have to change. If you want your children to have a planet worth living on, you have to change your behaviors, your consumption habits. You know, I went through a period of my life for about 2 years where I was homeless. And so learning the minimalistic living of living out of a suitcase with all the clothes that I could carry, for me was really eye-opening. It was a great perspective change of realizing that I don't need all of that stuff. You know, I really don't need.
you need 99 pairs of shoes.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like I live with like 3 pairs of shoes. I had like a nice pair of boots and like, you know, like some tennis shoes and some snow boots. And that was it. Like, okay. And so you just really get kind of, we really need to get out of that, like you said, that entitlement mindset of it's not just about me, but it's about us. And when we realize that we are one species times 8 billion different varieties of the one same bleeding red species, then we can come together and we can move forward with these great, these great initiatives. So, all right. So excellent. All right. Well, thank you again to my guests. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up, but I want to say that if this is your first time coming, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please follow the Facebook feeds. I do these broadcasts every Saturday because you need to get educated about hemp and all the things that hemp can do for our planet and for America and for Alaska, my home state right here. And so, so the hemp, let me start over. The hemp for healthcare model is simple. We grow hemp, tax it, and put that revenue into a state centralized healthcare fund, and then process the hemp into the thousands of products that hemp can make, like plastics and textiles, and sell them on hempforhealthcare.com. And then we take the profits from your sales off of hempforhealthcare.com and put them into your state's centralized healthcare fund. So when you buy hemp on hempforhealthcare.com, you are not only supporting the hemp industries across America and here in Alaska, but you're also one day you'll be funding healthcare for you and for your family and children. Okay. So also though, when you buy hemp on hempforhealthcare.com, you replace the products that you're now using with hemp products, making a sustainable choice for the planet and for an economically independent and self-sustainable America. I want you to say that with me. Economically independent and
self-sustainable America.
Right? That's what we need. It's not what we are right now, but that's what we need. Okay. All right.
Well, let's hope our politicians can stop arguing with each other about trivial things. Amen. Stop borrowing money from other countries and say to themselves, okay, well, maybe we better stop doing this. And maybe we just ought to do what's right for the American public. I wish that would happen, but who knows? Probably not in my lifetime or John's.
Come on, let's have faith. It's going to happen with me out here. It's going to happen. So, all right. So then, but you also, when you buy hemp on hempforhealthcare.com, you support my advocacy and my team's advocacy for this mission. Not only healthcare for all, but the industrial hemp prison program and hemp houses for the homeless. All right. So hemp-based economy can be a reality, but you must fund it. You, with your dollars, have to make a choice to buy hemp. And of course, the support of me and my mission. I serve you. You are my people. Whether or not you support me as your leader, I'm still going to make a choice that considers you and your future and your family's future in the choices that I make, to make sure that humanity as a whole has a healed and whole future, and we have a planet worth living on. So if you'd like to become a patron of mine under Hemp for Healthcare in America on Patreon, I'm looking for donors and supporters. We need a February $50 supporter for streaming. So please consider that as well. And then you can also make a PayPal donation to hempforhealthcareinak@gmail.com. I can't do this without you, and your support is necessary. So please buy hemp on hempforhealthcare.com. All right. So that being said, any questions? We're looking here at Miramar is talking about legality. Hi, Chim Cham. Good to see you. Alexa was asking, what were we discussing? We were discussing hemp as textiles. The question was, can hemp be farmed by nautilage? I don't know what nautilage is, so I don't have an answer to that question. And we have are there any suggestions, John? You're a little more educated in this, about how farmers who are seeking to sell their product can get in touch with manufacturers that are trying to buy product. Any ideas?
Yeah, no, the easiest is just go through their state Department of Agriculture. Once you get into the second and third tier processing, those are usually registered facilities. And so, and they, a lot of times will be bonded too, so that they're able to purchase as a commodity, just like wheat or other commodities. When they contract for your property or for your product, that they've got bonding behind them. So if they take your product and don't pay you, you can take it back and issue with the state. It's typically how the commodity law works. Otherwise, just kind of put your ear to the grindstone. There's enough resources out there. Call the Global Hemp Association is probably the first place. Join the Global Hemp Association. You'll be turned on to people all over the world that are involved in the same thing.
Love it. Love the Global Hemp Association, Mandy. Big shout out to you. And I definitely, I met John there. I have met in LinkedIn. Definitely an amazing opportunity to connect with other professionals in this space. Is LinkedIn better than I think Facebook or any other social media platform? LinkedIn really is very hemp supportive. So check out LinkedIn and Global Hemp Association for sure. Globalhempassociation.org is and we have a meeting coming up. I think February 16th is or 19th or something. So check that out. Awesome. Well, thank you, John. So that's it. Okay. Well, I want to thank you both for joining me for today's discussion about hemp as textiles, a very powerful topic. I love that you both were including wool into your hemp. Hemp by itself is very scratchy. It's not going to just make great clothing by itself, but when you blend it with something, that really changes the whole discussion about how we can use hemp as a sustainable fabric and sustainable opportunity for us. So let's talk with you, John. Let's get started with you. How can people learn more about woolen hemp and get in contact with you?
You can just contact me directly through woolenhemp.com. Woolen Hemp is WOOLENHEMP, and 406-270-6797. We work all the time. It doesn't seem to ever stop. So, I'm going down right now today. I've got a company that didn't complete their contracts and left a whole bunch of hemp at a facility. So it was given to me for a homeless project, for a hempcrete project. So I'm going to donate my day here to go move 35 tons of hemp. Unfortunately, that was a farmer was never paid for it. Nobody ever got paid in the whole situation. So this is a good example. Trying to do something good with something that was trouble, and the company is now long left Montana. But we hope to have good players and good contracts and good all that. It can be really a positive part of this, so the farmers can have a good experience. And that's the main thought that I leave you with: is let's have the farmers have a good experience.
Yeah. My favorite saying is that despite all of our human accomplishments, we owe our entire existence to 6 inches of topsoil and the fact that it rains. And we have farmers. Like, so it's so vitally important to remember the farmers throughout this, that without them, we can't do any of this. They're the backbone of this, and they deserve, to be paid well, to be paid living, wages, and to be exalted for what they do. I mean, this is backbreaking work to farm in general, whether it be for food or whether it's, whatever. It's important to exalt our farmers for sure. I love that. Thank you, John, so much. Susan, what about you? How to get in contact with you and learn more about Shemp Yarn Company?
Well, our website is in the production mode. In fact, I have to be grateful to Hemp today because they're doing it for me. And but it is www.shemp, S-H-E-M-P, yarn, Y-A-R-N.com. And I'm really attentive to requests for information. So if you wanted to email me, it's on there, susan@shempyarn.com. If you contact me through LinkedIn, I always call you back or set up a time to talk to you. Because I know what it's like to navigate this industrial hemp industry. I think it's, I'm not in the CBD business, and this is different. So
right.
I get a lot of people who ask me, and I set up calls, and I freely share information, so I hope I'm helpful. I believe that collaboration is the key to our success. If we don't collaborate, then, we just can't be out there alone, especially in today's fourth industrial revolution. Everything is going really fast. And if you're going to just be by yourself, you're just going to be left behind.
Right.
And I do agree about the farmers. I found it horrifying that they didn't have contracts. I was like, what do you mean you don't have a contract? I just think, like, when I think about, like, I hate to say this, but Sunstrand just leaving all those farmers just out there. That's not right.
Yeah.
Without them, they're the foundation of this business. And if you have a rocky foundation or cracks in the foundation, the house will not stand.
So when you build a foundation,
Anyway,
for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for so much. And really, as we look into the future and Explaining Hemp moving into the end of February is going to start talking about growing hemp and how you do it, what kind of equipment you need, and what kind of contracts do you need, and how to really do this in such a sustainable and successful way that you're not throwing yourself out there and just, everybody can grow hemp. Well, maybe not. Maybe it's a little bit more complicated than that. So we're going to spend time towards the end of February discussing that on Explaining Hemp. And so we've got some great experts coming on that. So thank you, both of you, so much. I love the fact that as always, we keep having this kind of female and male perspective to the industry, which is exactly what I want to do to promote balance across the industry, gender-wise, so that we're really bringing in those perspectives. We have to move into a world that's balanced gender equality wise. And so I'm very, very excited. Thank you guys so much for coming on. So I want to say just a huge shout out. Now, please join us next week, because next week, right now, here's what's happening right in America. If you're not paying attention, Joe Biden is saying, shut down the pipelines, shut down oil production. Okay, but where do those people go? Okay, what do those people do? How are they going to feed their families and pay their mortgage payments? And I'm sorry, Mr. President, but you're putting the cart before the horse. We need to create the green infrastructure, and it's possible. So guess what? We're going to talk about hemp as energy. I'm so excited to be joined by two amazing experts in that area. Let me read my notes here. So I've got this statement here that says, this extremely volatile and controversial topic right now in American politics, as we have the president that is prematurely closing down pipelines with no backup jobs ready. But how do we keep calm and think hemp in the energy sector? I've got it for you. We will be joined by Stephen Fantz with Cultivate Hemp Solutions. He'll be discussing about renewable hemp biodiesel. And Tracy Seville with Silver Lion Farms and other amazing carbon generating hemp as energy sector information. She will be coming on as well. So it's going to just be a powerful discussion about how hemp is going to disrupt our energy industry and bring green energy finally to America and to Alaska. The rest of the world's seen it. We're going to see it right here in America. So I'm so excited about that. Join us Saturday, February 6th, 9 a.m. Alaska Standard Time, right here on whatever channel you're watching this. Okay, so now let me bless you and send you on your way to be world changers out there in the world. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May he shine his face upon you and be gracious to you. May he show you his favor and give you peace. In Jesus' mighty name I pray. Amen. So I'll see you all next week. God bless you. God bless Alaska. And God bless America. Thanks, guys. See you soon.
Thank you.